When I say criminal justice system, what do I mean? See, actually, if we see that, if there is a problem in policing, if there is a problem in, upholding the right of individuals, could be fundamental rights or anything, it is mainly because of what kind of punishments is inflicted on the accused and guilty. Okay. And what is the process that the innocents are put through to uphold justice? Okay. And how much money power is involved, how much political power is involved in convictions. Okay. So given all these, it is really important that, we constantly upgrade our criminal justice system. So when I say criminal justice system, it means that how, a guilty is being treated under the law in India, and how an innocent is protected against the, assault or against any kind of harms that is, perpetrated against an innocent individual is what we are going to see here. Okay. And it is very important that the process will have to be transparent, clear, and well defined. Okay, na? So that's why we have this, basic structure and non-basic structure areas in Constitution also, because certain areas cannot be changed. Certain areas can be constantly, redefined and relooked into according to the change in the society, right? So now what is the problem in our criminal justice system is what we are going to see now. Okay, so write down the problems of criminal justice system in India. Actually, this is, these problems, which whatever we are going to write down now, they are given by R. Madhav Menon committee. There was one time where they used to ask that kind of questions. Not massive following, they used to ask like, this particular committee is related to what? At the 17 Prelims Hard Talk committee is related to which of the following anta. Education committee that was. In history it was. Okay. So they used to ask in UPSC also, like, in the starting 15 times, I mean, when I started. Okay. So, but then lately we are not seeing any such questions. Okay. But then in KPSC level, maybe if some committee is like in news for a long time, prolonged time, then maybe that might come up. But, definitely if there is something that is so prominently being discussed, we can see in the news. Okay. Na? So not to worry. This is a little outdated pattern of question. Committee, this one. But if something newly it is created for something new and revolutionary, then yeah, maybe possibility. Okay. Yeah. First one. Even after prolonged and costly procedures, even after prolonged and costly procedures, not even 1/4 of the cases end in conviction. So firstly, they are clearly telling that there is prolonged and costly procedure. Okay. So there is delay in the pronouncement of verdict. Okay. So that itself is a big problem, right or not? So second thing is, despite, enduring all the suffering for somebody who is not guilty, it is like even more disheartening to hear that the person involved in the crime is not convicted. Okay. So either the evidences are diluted or like, evidences are tampered, a lot of things like that. Or maybe evidences are insufficient in front of law. A lot of things come into the picture and there is no conviction. When there is no conviction, it is like, a failure of our criminal justice system, isn't it? Like, we strongly believe in that, like letting go, letting the, criminals free, but not, inflicting harm to one innocent. That's the, basic structure of our judiciary, isn't it? So now this is a big thing. Conviction should always be high. Okay. How do you think this, criminalization of politics is happening? Because of conviction only. Okay. They are not convicted. Okay. When they are convicted, it gets registered in the records. Okay. It's white and black that you've been convicted for this particular case. Okay. So that is going to have a remark on your career, political career. Therefore, what they do, they try to, hoodwink the system in such a way that, they are not convicted. They've just, charged. Okay. They are arrested for suspicion. And then eventually what happens? Lack of evidence, they are granted bail and they're set free eventually. Right or not? So conviction is the first and foremost thing that, gives hope to everybody that yes, if somebody commits some, a crime, then they are going to be punished under the law. Right or not? But, it's a fine balance. This delivery of justice should be given by the judiciary only. Okay. Now, what we saw in that Hyderabad rape case, it's like, police excess. or like, it's not right to say that, but otherwise, yeah, it's like, you can't even say that. Like, it's an extrajudicial activity, we can say. Okay. So it's really important to strike a balance. Okay. So there is a procedure, and within the procedure, you should ensure that the procedure is fair. But at the same time, you should not take up the, judgment part to your own hands. Okay. It should be like very, very balanced, delivery of justice. And for that, your system will have to be very, very efficient and strong and transparent. Okay, so judicial systems, again, first of all, judicial systems restructuring and reorganization is very, very important for us now, isn't it? We're trying to bring up some kind of transparency into the appointments. That itself is taking so much time. We are not fine with it because it's one of the areas or one of the profiles where there is no counter checks. If you know the reality, like it's a very, very closed system. They're not transparent. It's a very closed system. And then this judge's discretionary, opinions are there, no? They are like, not brought up anywhere. Okay? That is a very significant thing. We should bring in more transparent, reforms in the judiciary system. So that's a whole topic altogether. Because, our executive and legislatures are caught red-handed like then and there itself. Because there is opposition party, there's ruling party, and then, we have sessions, and public opinions is directly, resonated in the elections. So there is like, some check. But judiciary is that one organ which is like, above this legislature and executive, where we are unable to bring in more of, accountability. So we have to bring in some reforms there. Okay, so that could also be one of the points which we'll write later. But conviction is something that we are struggling to achieve. Okay, so this insufficient evidence, lack of evidence, okay, that is something that, we've been constantly hearing, and conviction rates are very much less. Okay, yes. So next point, money and influence play a significant role. No, not really. What I'm trying to tell you is like, clearly you see the difference. Somebody who's powerful, who is, booked for a hit and run case, and who's booked for like, killing of one of the, vulnerable species, or one of the, not to be killed species, and he is going scot-free. Okay. Exactly. And on the contrary, we see these Red Sanders smuggling case. Okay. So kingpins never get arrested. Okay. So those people who are involved in the, floor level works are the ones who get arrested. Right. So recently also we saw like, it's very obvious. Right. So primarily, whoever is got money power and the muscle power, they are going to rule the judiciary is what they believe in. Okay. Why is this agony in India? We say so much like, everybody has fundamental rights. Everybody is protected under the Constitution of India. We have our legislative, judiciary and executive all together, protecting each individual in India. Despite that, why does this difference exist? Don't you think we are all very much scared of this criminal justice system, and we are like very much under-aware of whatever is the proceedings? Do you know that like, within the crime commission, within 24 hours, an FIR has to be produced to the, party. Okay. So it's really important. Okay. So despite knowing all these things, when, we saw a case where like, after like 48 hours also, they had not given the FIR. Okay. The moment we said that, or say somebody said that, like, it's been 48 hours and you haven't given us the FIR copy yet, like in 5 minutes, the job was done. In 5 minutes, the job was done. Trust me, in 5 minutes, the job was done. So until you are going to remain, unaware and make it look like whatever they do is right, you are not going to be given justice. Stand up for your rights. Okay, you have to be very much aware about what is the legal proceedings. We should not say gone are the days where you should be scared about the police system, or no, it's not like that anymore. Okay, so and see, we are like having so much technological advancements now. You have your smartphones. Okay, yeah, e-codes are available, and then on top of it, like, see, you have protections right around you. Okay, just that you should be aware of it. You should be really, really aware of it. And then you have to spread awareness about like, there is no harm in approaching the, police system or the judiciary for, fighting for your justice. Do you know that there's also a provision for, demanding compensation for fighting this entire case? There is. There is. Okay. So it's just that, we are unaware of these situations. And like this, there are also provisions which are like age old and which are like very, very funny, which still exists. Okay. So we have to keep reforming them. Okay. It's really, really important that, everybody becomes aware of the proceedings. How the, legal proceedings happen is very, very important. So this money and influence power is having all the, control is primarily because of inequality, our economic system. Because, too much money in too few hands. So they rule the country. Okay. And on top of it, because we are unaware, we are agreeing to whatever they say. Okay, we knew that in one of the popular cases, one of the big celebrity was involved in it. Okay, despite that, there is still so much fan following for him or her. What is the moral backing of the people who follow blindly like that? Okay, that it's not about the morality. It's about like how much influence this individual can wield over people, common people, is more important. Okay, and why do you think you and I will not follow somebody like that, whereas an uneducated person will follow? Because of awareness, lack of awareness. Okay, so we should start spreading more of rational thinking and awareness to everybody. And for this, what we have to do? Improve literacy. Okay, so do you understand how such big things are connected with very basic and small things? Yes. So we might feel like somebody down the line, road is not going to school and he is working in a tea shop. How does it make any difference? It will make a difference. It will make a difference to such large extent, provided we know how to connect between the things. Got it? Yes. Third point. Delays defeat justice and offenders go unpunished. Delays defeat justice and offenders go unpunished. We are, even unable to catch the, victim, perpetrator of the crime sometimes. This acid attack, simple thing. Like, we are not even able to catch hold of him. Like one simple, small fellow, okay, a normal guy, okay, like who is not even, a competent authority or competent person to, cheat our system, but still we are struggling to catch hold of him. Okay, so it's very, very important that there is no delay, and such cases should be dealt with extreme sensitivity also. Okay, so see, now we are becoming more sensitive to these cases because you see the punishments or you see the verdicts, they're becoming like landmark verdicts and judgments. Okay, we have so much protection for acid victims these days. We have a bill itself, totally we passed a bill and then there is so much protection, right? So it's important. Okay, and another thing is when the offenders go unpunished, what happens? They become habitual offenders, first thing. And second thing is they lose the faith in the system. Okay, the credibility of the system is weak. Okay, now why you or I do not approach the court system just like that? Common people do not want to go to courts for any small thing, primarily because what am I going to get out of it? One thing is it's going to be very lengthy, and second thing is even if I win at some point of time, how is it going to make any difference, right? So that attitude should change only when the system is working efficiently. Okay, so like I told in the previous class where we could e-complaints could fetch you back whatever you lost, like in 2 months time. That's one classic case. Yeah, like even I have had so many personal experiences where I have seen police excesses. Okay, I have seen like how police would want to shun off their responsibility, not our jurisdiction. You're a girl, like you can't take up to this, this kind of attitude, like convincing parents, like a lot of things like that. But still, finally, what matters is like how much you are going to stand on your ground for fighting for the cause. That's it. Okay. So, and one of the pathetic things is that these offenders, they are habitual offenders. When you dig out their history, they would definitely be in the wanted list of the circle. So how is the police system functioning? Okay, so that's the funnier part of it. So I'll share the story at the end of the class. Like, it's a very interesting story. And then, I can't believe that, it worked that way. It's very interesting. I'll tell you, of the class. We'll just have a small discussion about it. Okay. So always offenders should never be, unpunished. Okay. It's really, really important. Okay. Then fourth one, witnesses are threatened and are not protected. Again, the influence of money and power. Then, victims are totally ignored in the system. Victims are totally ignored in the system and do not get relief for injuries or losses suffered. Even registration of complaints becomes so difficult without money. So, these are the problems in our criminal justice system. So, now what do we do about it? So, what are the reforms that we have to bring in? First one, write down. Decriminalize certain offenses. No, by Malimath committee. But yeah, you can write it as Madhav Menon committee also. But keep it as like open reforms. Okay. First one. That's what. Decriminalize certain offenses which can be tackled through civil or administrative procedures.